Radyo, 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 Katipunan, Radyo, Katipunan, Radyo, Katipunan, Radyo, 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 Katipunan, Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Sa Vlog Blue Eagle kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng buwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, Radyo, 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 Katipunan, Radyo, Radyo, Katipunan, Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugod, todo sa kayon, tulong at tulong. Lipat na Blue Eagle, galing giting nagigil. Blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, Radyo, 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 Katipunan, Radyo, Radyo, Katipunan, Radyo, Katipunan, Radyo, 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 Katipunan, Radyo, Katipunan.
Magandang gabi, everyone. Magandang gabi po sa ating lahat. And welcome back to Cura, Conversations on Care, Health, and Healing. I'm Dr. Tipi Sumpayco Tanchanco.
Makakalikasang gabi, Dr.
Yes.
Tipi, and to all our listeners, I am Dr. Jello Apostol. And today, Dr. Tipi, we're having a very important conversation.
Yes.
Something that even many people find very difficult to talk about, but is very important and close to all of us. It's about mental health and hope.
Excited na ako talaga,
Yeah.
no, Doc Jello. But before we dive in, we want to acknowledge that today's topic includes some discussions about mental health challenges. So if you're going through some difficult time right now, please know that you're not alone. And later, we'll share ways to get support throughout the show.
Yes, so hashtag trigger warning, but also there is hope. Hashtag there is hope. Diba?
Yan.
And we also want to be clear that for this episode, Dr. Tipi, it's not just about mental illness or having a psychiatric diagnosis, diba?
Yes.
This is about mental wellness.
Beyond the diagnosis talaga, Doc
More
Jello, no?
comprehensive, Dr. P.
Yes.
And also, when we talk about hope, we will also talk about topics such as emotional resilience and how we can all take care of our minds, or yung tinatawag natin sa Filipino na lusog isip, di ba?
Ganda.
Kalusugang
Lusog isip.
pangkaisipan.
Yes.
How we can take care of ourselves, but also of each other.
Yes,
Diba?
tama.
And
So, community talaga, Doc Jello, no?
Community.
And considering, sobrang fast-paced kasi ngayon, lahat ng bagay, diba?
Fast-paced.
And, ano ba yung world natin ngayon?
VUCA, sabi nga nila ba? Volatile, di ba? Uncertain, complex, ambiguous. So, we live in very volatile and uncertain situations and circumstances, which is why our topic today is very, very important.
So, whether you're a parent wondering how to support your teenager na parang minsan ayaw talaga magsalita, no? Or a student managing stress, shout out sa ating mga medical students na nakikinig sa atin ngayon. A young professional navigating career pressures, or a senior wondering, what am I gonna do during retirement? O kaya just about anyone just trying to find balance in their life. So this conversation is for you.
And true to the spirit of Cura, we're approaching this critical conversation with care, but also with hope and practical wisdom that we can all use, starting today. Wisdom that we can use to
Ay,
take
ngayon.
care of ourselves
Yes,
and
yes.
each other. So let's start, Dr. P.
Sige. Actually, we are honored po. Sobrang swerte po natin to have two incredible guests. Sasabihin ko, hindi, pero pinagbawalan niya ako. Two incredible guests today. So, una, si Dr. Dina Nadera, ang faculty po natin sa Ateneo School of Medicine and Public Health, and she is a very staunch practitioner and advocate for public mental health. Hindi namin pwede sabihin na ina ng public mental health. Hindi namin sasabihin yon, pero Dr. Dina has spent decades talaga, advocating for mental health awareness and accessible care for all Filipinos. So, Dr. Dina, welcome.
Ay, maraming salamat sa inyong pag-imbita at magandang gabi sa ating mga tagapakinig at sa atin dito sa studio na medyo kinakabahan pero okay lang.
Lahat
Salamat.
yata tayo. May content ka pa
Kasi
talaga.
napakahalaga nung ating pag-uusapan today. And also with us is a student.
Yes.
Di ba sabi nga natin, Dr. P, here sa Cura, we will feature the voices of everyday people. Because we believe that health should not only be in the hands of healthcare professionals.
Agree.
Everyday people can also have health in their hands and we can take care of
Should
ourselves.
have. Yes.
Diba? So, and for this episode and all episodes moving forward, we'll also be inviting people from in our community to share their stories and
Kaya
even their
mag-volunteer na
tips.
po kayo.
Yes. Please, looking for volunteers. But for today,
Yes, for today.
we have with us Agham, ang ganda na pangalan, Agham Navarro, a student who has graciously agreed to share their journey of mental health and hope. So Agham, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you rin po for inviting me. Magandang gabi, everyone. I'm a bit nervous po, admittedly. But I'm here because I believe that these conversations matter.
Ganda. Pero maraming salamat talaga, Agham, no? But that's exactly the spirit that we need. Medyo a little nervous energy. Ako rin, Doc Jello, medyo kinakabahan din ako ngayong gabi. Pero okay yon. A little nervous energy, a little stress can be good for all of us, di ba? Because it keeps us real and it keeps us present. So I think yon. So maraming salamat, Agham, for joining us.
And sabi nga ng mentor ko, when you feel nervous, it's an indication that it's important. Diba? Kinakabahan ka kasi mahalaga.
Yes.
Diba? So let's start our conversation starting with Dr. Dins Nadera. Doc Dins, you said that you are an advocate and a practitioner of public mental health. Ang ganda nun, no? Public mental health. A lot of people are familiar of public health and mental health. But Doc Dins, tell us more about public mental health. And how is it different from what people usually think of when we talk about mental health?
Yung public mental health kasi yung approach niya sa lusog-isip ay community-based, population-based. No? Hindi ito yung individual clinics. Of course, there is also clinical management. Pero yun nga, communities ang target niya at ini-involve niya yung key stakeholders. So, ang isang key stakeholder ay ang gobyerno. So, pag sinabi mong public mental health, you have to involve the government, you have to involve all stakeholders, and your approach is population-based, just like public health in general.
Kwentuhan mo nga kami, Doc Dins. Ano ba yung mga pinagkakaabalahan mo ngayon dito sa public mental health?
Pabiyahe-biyahe lang, Doc
ganyan.
Tipi.
Nakasama rin sa mental health, di ba? Traveling can also help with mental
Pero
wellness.
ibang level ang traveling yata ni
So
Doc Dina.
we go to communities, we train mental health care, we train general practitioners, we train public health nurses on assessing, managing, and treating persons with mental health condition, and also coaching them on how to do the referrals, yung healthcare provider network. We try to establish that sa community.
So training mula Luzon hanggang Mindanao.
Ito po ay in support of the government's project, no, to really improve the mental health services. Kaya kahit saan po sa bansa, kapag tinawag kami, ay willing naman po kaming magpunta.
Pero mukhang beyond the Philippines ka pa minsan, di ba, Doc Dina?
Depende, Doc TP, kung may invitation at kung may budget. Yun.
Pero ang ganda nun, no, Doc Tepi, parang we're bringing mental health services. Doc Dina, through her team, they're bringing or trying to figure out how to make mental health services closer to people and
Yes.
accessible.
Access talaga yung
Yeah.
important na term dyan, Doc Dina.
Yes.
No?
Because I know a lot of people then na hirap to access mental health services. And what Doc Dina is saying is that shouldn't be the case, right, Doc Dins?
Yes, kasi karapatan mo yun eh. You have the right to health, and then you have the right to mental health.
Yeah. Sige. Nako, ang ganda ng kwento ni Doc Dina na mukhang matagal mo na rin to nasimulan, di ba, Doc Dina?
Yes.
Mga ilang taon na ba yan?
Kanina mo pa sinasabi na dekada eh. So,
So, dekada nga ba? Ganun na ba?
oo.
Okay, ang ganda nun. So, Doc Dina, looking into our world at saka yung konteksto natin ngayon, like, meron ka bang nahahalata ng mga mental health trends and factors dito sa sphere na ginagalawan mo?
Well, mas mataas na ngayon yung awareness natin. So we are problem aware, no? And mas marami na ring solutions na options tayo. So we are solution aware. Pero yung help-seeking behavior kasi, medyo malakas pa rin yung effect ng stigma. So it
Stigma.
actually, yes. So yun yung kailangan pa nating trabahuin, no? Hindi lang dapat humihinto dun sa aware ka, alam mong may solusyon, dapat may action. At yung stigma ang ating tinitingnan ngayon kung paano ito mawawala para mas malakas yung help-seeking.
Tanungin natin si Agham.
But before we ask Agham,
sige.
Doc DP, Doc Dins, let's help our listeners unpack that concept of stigma. Yung parang how do we better explain the concept of stigma to our listeners? And why is that important in mental health?
Ang stigma kasi, ito yung negative concept attached to something. Okay? So, stereotype siya. It's a negative stereotype. And because you have that stigma, usually nga, pwede pa self-stigma eh. Nagkakaroon, ito ay nagre-result sa isang behavior, which is discrimination. So, stigma is the thought, discrimination is the behavior.
Action.
Right,
So,
right.
napaka-negative nito pagdating sa mental health.
Actually, yun yung tatanungin ko kay Agham eh. 'Di ba? Parang ikaw ba, naranasan mo ba yung stigma nung bata-bata ka or nung panahon na may crisis? Meron ba talagang stigma real for you?
Yes. Kasi po before, when I was a kid, parang seeking help was something na frowned upon. Na parang mahina ka. And I came from a very religious family. And parang sinasabi lang, madadaan yan sa dasal. But as I educated myself, especially when I went to Ateneo where there's theology, there was psychology, because I was a psych major, I learned that that was not religiosity. It was actually stigma in action. So, naging mahirap po yung pagsisik ng help. Pero eventually, when I unlearned that stigma, that's when I was able to seek help.
So prayer can be helpful, but there are some things talaga that you just can't pray away, di ba? And siguro, Doc Dins and Agham, parang medyo nalilito rin ako ng konti kasi sabi natin kanina, and I think we acknowledge that there's more awareness. Pero 2025 na, pero may ganun pa ring pagtingin. Di ba? So, Doc Dins, balik tayo sa'yo. So, there's more awareness, but there are clearly factors that make it difficult for patients, that continue to make it difficult for people to access mental health services and to take care of themselves. Ano yung mga factors na ito na nakikita natin that's preventing kalusugang pangkaisipan to become more accessible for all?
Well, sa individual level, ito yung ating literacy, yung ating pagkaintindi, pagkaunawa kung ano talaga ang lusog-isip. Okay? Sa community level naman, ito naman yung hindi safe yung lugar, may violence. So may epekto lahat yan no, sa iyong kalusugan. So barrier din yon. Tapos at a higher level, let's take the health system for example. Kung hindi accessible ang services, syempre ito ay negative din. No? Ito ay nakakapagpalala pa nga ng situation ng mental health. At alam ni Agham yun, yung inaccessibility sa mental health services ay malaking factor sa pag-prevent ng ano.
So parang multi-level, multi-tier. It's very complicated pala, Doc
Public
Dina,
health.
no? Public health talaga.
So maraming barriers, maraming challenges at the individual level and also beyond you. And I think parang that's also central to mental health challenges. Na parang a lot of it is beyond you. Kaya minsan parang ikaw, very important na you recognize na you can't do it by yourself because a lot of it is beyond you. But despite all of these barriers and challenges, Doc Dins, there is hope. Kasi sabi nga, Doc TP, our episode is on mental health and hope.
Yeah.
Doc Dins, balik tayo sa'yo. And also to Agham, no? Parang how important is hope,
Yes.
pag-asa, when we talk about mental health?
And ako siguro, babalikan ko rin yung tanong mo, Doc Jello, no? Talaga bang beyond you, itong mga steps na available dyan sa kung nasaan man yung mga tao ngayon. 'Di ba? Lahat ba nitong tulong na to beyond you?
Well, unahin natin yung hope, no? Yung pag-asa. Yung hope kasi, it gives you that kind of parang yung optimism at saka yung trust and faith that, something good is going to happen after all of these things na nangyayari. At yung kapag meron ka kasing hope, it will drive you to do something about whatever it is that you are experiencing. At actually, kasama nga yan sa definition ng mental health eh. Sa definition ng mental health, sinasabi niya, yung state of well-being is when you are able to face the adversities, the extreme life experiences of life, when you're able to address the regular challenges of your everyday living. So, hope lahat yan.
Alam mo, Doc Tippy, parang something to share from my generation. Natutunan namin yan sa sex
Your
bomb eh.
generation.
Diba?
Ano yan? Hindi ko yan alam.
Diba, hindi,
Hindi ko yata generation.
hindi tayo tinuruan ng sex bomb para sumuko. Diba? Laban-laban lang. Diba? Feeling ko yun yung ang messenger po talaga ng hope sa aming generation, no? Mga millennials ay
okay.
sex bomb, diba? Parang laban-laban lang, bawal sumuko. Agham, no? Ikaw, like, how important...
Generation mo rin ba yun? Laban
Ibang
lang.
generation na ata si Agham, eh.
Wala.
Gen Z na. Oo. Like, how important is hope for you?
Para po sa akin kasi, yung hope, ito yung nagsistart siya sa tanong na para kanino ka bumabangon. So it's about having that kind of motivation to continue with your day, to do your tasks. Parang you have something to live for. So that for me is hope. It really helps me, especially as a student, parang para kanino ba? Bakit ako nag-aaral? Parang ganun. So things like serving the communities, that gives me hope already. So mga ganun importante po yun kasi sometimes if you get overwhelmed with, let's say, academics or parang issues with like social life or with your family, parang madali lang ma-overwhelm. Pero pag may hope ka, you have something to live for, parang kaya mo abutin or mapagtagumpayan yung mga bagay na yun.
Yeah, so parang hope gives you courage. No?
Ah,
It
yes,
gives you courage to move on, no?
And
And
when-
other people give you hope.
And so hope doesn't only come from you, di ba? Parang going back to what Dr. P was saying kanina, na parang it's everyone's journey, di ba? You should feel that it's not only your own journey, but like parang other people can also help you. And in the context of mental health challenges, when you feel like giving up, I think it's hope that reminds you to say, okay, don't give up today. Diba? Maybe give up tomorrow, but not today. Pero parang if you keep on...
Sandali, Doc.
But if you keep on saying to yourself, parang give up tomorrow, dilipas yung taon na parang, okay, di pa na talaga ako nag-give up, di ba?
Oo. Lang. So sabi mo nga, laban-laban lang.
Laban-laban lang. Walang bawi-bawi, di ba?
Okay, so sandali, Doc Dina, di ba parang syempre lifespan din tayo. No? Syempre medyo bias ko din looking at young children. So meron tayong mga listeners ngayon who are parents. So how do you talk to children about mental health na hindi mo sila tatakutin? Kasi di ba minsan parang nakakatakot din. Or how should parents approach it without really minimizing yung real struggles?
Kanina nag-uusap tayo before the show, nabanggit nga ni Agham na, there should be a safe space, katulad na nabanggit mo, and then dapat non-judgmental. Pero yung approach kasi, integral kasi yung mental health sa lahat ng discussions eh. When you ask an adolescent, what happened? Okay, ano nangyari? Ano naramdaman mo? And then you ask, well, you felt sad, you were anxious, so how did you cope? Paano mo nakayanan yun? This storytelling, this short conversation, is actually talking about mental health already. Diba?
So may
Paano
conversations
nakaka-cope? Yes,
talaga,
oo.
no? Siguro dadagdag ko lang, kailangan lang developmentally appropriate,
Yes,
di ba?
of course. Yeah.
Like yung, paano mo kakausapin yung mga toddlers na hindi pa ganun ka-well-developed yung language. So parang, kailangan lang bagayan, pati yung mga terms na ginagamit natin, no?
But I can imagine it can be very challenging di ba? Kasi it's a difficult conversation. So as a parent, parang how do you even approach your child? It's a very difficult conversation Parang, and I know a lot of stories, real talk lang tayo, di ba? Parang sometimes parents can be very dismissive about it. Di ba? We hear phrases like, nag-iinarte ka na naman. Di ba? Or kaka-cellphone mo yan. Di ba? So, like, how can parents be more compassionate, empathetic when approaching their children about these issues?
Ang napapansin ko lang kasi, kapag sinabi mong how do people talk about mental health, mental illness yung pinag-uusapan eh. Hindi mental health eh. Kaya kanina nabanggit ko na, you talk about mental health in the conversation na integral yung mental health doon. It doesn't have to be an illness. But honestly, it is really difficult to talk to your child. Ako, parent. It's difficult to talk to my child about mental health issues. Kasi hindi mo naman pwedeng inegate lang yung pakiramdam ng parent na ako ba may kasalanan kung bakit nagkaka-issue yung anak ko? It's a normal thought process. Kaya yung mga bata, the parents maybe they're not dismissive, but maybe they feel guilty also and they don't know how to say it. And they also have fears. Kaya nagmumukhang dismissive. Hindi ko naman sinasave yung parents katulad ko. But that's also the other.
So parang two-way street
Oo,
siya, di
two-way
ba?
street
Doc
siya.
Nina? May
Oo.
role din
Yeah.
yung bata, yung teenager in that relationship, di ba? I think that's important to mention. And siguro for parents din, di ba, sabi natin, bigyan natin ng tips yung mga parents. It's also labeling
Yes.
the emotions. It's important to acknowledge na minsan I can be sad too or I can be very angry sometimes, di ba? Important. And minsan mahirap din yun, di ba, Doc Deans?
Yeah, but that's a normal human emotion.
Right.
Diba? Medyo wide lang yung range mo emotions mo because you can be sad and angry and extremely happy.
Right.
So, tanongin naman natin si Agham, di ba? Agham, kanina before we started the show, you gave us a glimpse of your mental health journey. And ako, I wanted to ask, parang did your parents have a role in your journey of mental well-being and hope? Like, how did they approach you? Did you like how they approached you? If not, parang how do you think could they have approached you better? Or, actually, gusto mo ba na nilapitan ka nila? Kasi, sometimes parang, tama, it's a two-way street eh. Sometimes may pag-iisip din. I was trying to remember when I was in my adolescent years. Parang, ang thinking ko rin, no, my parents will never understand me. Which is why I would look to other people. Like my friends, di ba? Pero iba pa rin yung kalinga ng magulang eh. And deep inside, parang, thinking about it, going back, deep inside, gusto ko talaga nakausapin ako ng magulang ko. Diba? But for you, Agham, it's your story. Parang, did your parents have a role in your mental health journey, in your journey of hope?
For me, it wasn't really difficult to open up the discussion on mental health, primarily because I grew up in a very open environment. So whether it's my interest, whether it's about religion, about something I'm curious about, or even politics, it's discussed at home. So it wasn't difficult for me to open up about my own mental health, about my struggles. In fact, they were really responsive towards my needs. So I really appreciated about that. So siguro for our listeners who are parents, ang advice ko is to really create a safe space and approach things with curiosity rather than judgment.
Ay, ang ganda nun. Hindi yung sasabihin mo na hindi yung sasabihin mo na kaka-cellphone mo yan or kasi nauna na yung judgment eh. Pero ang ganda rin ng sinabi ni Agham na it's not as if a parent out of nowhere can just approach a child, how are you, why are you sad?
Yeah.
It comes with a background na dapat meron ng established na open lines of communication. Diba? Na parang
Although, minsan, di ba, parang kanya-kanya din tayong preference. Like, minsan ako, parang, sometimes I prefer na, huwag muna akong pansinin. Dito lang ako, magmumukmuk lang muna ako dito. Pero mamaya, pag ready na ako, I will go back and approach you.
Doc, let's talk about that. Let's talk about boundaries. Diba? Kasi that's about setting boundaries. Sometimes you just need to give people space. How do you balance that, Doc Dins? Ako, I'm very curious eh. It's a balancing act.
Ikaw ba, anong preference mo? Tinatanong ka? Or...
Depende rin sa mood, Doc.
Depende sa
Minsan
mood.
kasi
Kung
malungkot
ano nakain
ako,
mo. Oh.
pero minsan malungkot ako tsaka gutom. Pag malungkot ako tsaka
okay.
gutom, hinahanap ko yung luto ng nanay ko, nilagang baka. Diba? Pwedeng hindi mo na kami
Parang
mag-usap.
sarap yata niya, no?
Kasi
Kahit ka lang.
lalo na maulan ngayon, di ba? Parang, alam yun ng nanay ko, like, when I'm sad, nilagang
Nandiyan na
baka.
yung baka.
Nilagang
Oo.
baka talaga. Hahanapin yan sa palengke. But Doc Dins, I think it's also a balancing act eh. Parang, how do you balance empathy and showing care for someone while at the same time respecting their boundaries? How do we manage
Or where
that?
do you draw the line?
Well, sa kultura natin, meron yung pakiramdam, di ba? marunong kang makiramdam, di ba? Nararamdaman mo natutunugan mo di ba? Yun yung mga term natin, no? May gut feel
Kutob,
ka.
di ba?
May kutob,
May kutob ka.
oo.
Oo.
So, minsan, we also can rely on this. Pero, ang mas mahalaga siguro is yung nire-respeto mo kung ano yung kanyang choice ngayon at nire-respeto mo din yung kakayahan niya na kaya mo na niyang mag-isa ngayon pero nandyan ka lang. Parang may assurance lang na okay, andyan, ayaw mo muna akong kausapin pero nandito lang ako. Yung assurance na kailangan, na kapag kailangan ka niya, nandyan ka.
So, parang presence. No?
Yes, yung presence mo.
Presence.
Yung assurance na yun ang mahalaga. Dapat maiparamdam mo sa kanya.
And I think, no, a lot of, I can't say all, but a lot of, I guess, like parents, yung sinasabi mo kanina, Doc Dins, na you want to fix it. But sometimes that's not what's needed eh. Sometimes presence, listening, without necessarily fixing it.
Correct.
Diba?
So that safe space talaga na sinabi ni Agham kanina. No? Sige, pabalik lang ako dito. No? Siguro Agham, like, dun sa journey na pinagdaanan mo, meron ka bang mga learnings na ito talagang dadalin ko throughout life? Or ito yung ituturo ko sa mga anak ko pag may anak na ako?
Siguro po for me, again, just going back to what I said before, it's really about being a safe space for others. Na parang hindi ka mag-judge agad, you'll try to give a listening ear. Siguro yun po yung what I learned. It's not just in the family, but it's also about your friends. Na parang you learn to check up on people. And that's what I really learned na helpful for me. Like yung simple pangamusta lang, those gestures really do help with my mental health.
So, ang ganda, no? Very, very,
Oo nga.
very encouraging na parang mental health can even begin in our own families, between a parent and a
Meron ka talagang
child.
magagawa, di ba? Isn't that empowering na as a child, kahit na teenager ka, parang alam mo na, okay, I have a role in this, di ba?
Yeah.
Okay.
Minsan lang, meron lang, ako as a parent, I also make a mistake na I overread my children. Kasi, di ba may
Kasi
parents
psychiatrist ka rin, Doc
Yeah.
Dins. Oh my
Tao naman
gosh.
ako, no? Ano ba naman yun? Yung oncologist nga, nagkaka-cancer din eh. Come on. Di ba yung parents kasi, meron silang sinasabi na, kilala ko yung anak ko, alam, kabisado ko na yan. No, kahit sa asawa, di ba? Memorize na kita. Sometimes,
Kailangan pa bang i-memorize
Shout out
yan?
natin dito si Sir Vim.
sometimes, nakakasakit pala ng damdamin sa mga, akala mo, as a parent, ipinapaabot mo na naiintindihan kita or alam ko yung kailangan mo. Pero sa kanila pala, hindi.
Iba pala,
Huwag
no?
mo na akong basahin. Parang ganun.
So I think parang yun nga, often a word we
Yeah.
splurt out is parang, I know how you feel. But that's not always the case. Diba? So maybe that is a phrase that we may want to avoid. Instead, what we can say is, I've noticed some changes in you lately. Or perhaps start with a tone of care and concern. You know what? I care about you. And I'm talking to you because, I have a deep care and concern for you. But is there something that you want to talk about? Don't assume, tama no, Doc Dins, don't assume that I know how you feel or I know what it's like because sometimes you really don't. Iba-iba tayo.
Common parents mistake yan.
Na parang they assume na alam nila
They
lahat.
know their children. Kilala nila yung anak nila.
Isa pa, parang common mistake. Parents talaga, marami tayong mga hugot from parents.
Parang daming hashtag
A lot
dito
of
ngayong
parents,
gabi, no?
a lot of parents think na, and I think this is also where the generational gap comes in. Parang a lot of parents, having come from a different generation, they have this sensibility na you should just stuff it out. Magpakatatag ka. Or minsan nga may gender aspect. Magpakalalaki ka, huwag kang iiyak, di ba? Are we still encouraging those kinds of behavior na parang just stuff it out, di ba? Parang,
Anong tingin nyo doon?
Ikaw, Agham, pag sinabihan ka ng ganun, parang ipapasok kay Agham.
Si Agham muna.
Oo.
Personally po, parang dismissive siya in Gen Z terms. Parang it's very dismissive. So I don't think it really helps yung help-seeking behavior. In fact, parang mas nakapalala pa siya ng condition ng mga children.
Yeah.
So that includes me siguro. From my experience, I never liked that.
Parang na-invalidate kasi yung feelings mo,
Yes
diba?
po.
Yeah.
So, Doc Dins, Doc Tips, and Agham, moving on from parents and children, sabi nga natin, para sa lahat ang show natin sa Cura, let's talk about another mental health issue, which is burnout. Burnout among our students and burnout among
Sa atin
all
ba yan?
professionals.
Okay.
Parang ako medyo, I'm a bit nervous talking about this kasi sometimes I feel it too, Dr. P. I feel burnout sometimes.
Lahat naman yata tayo.
Pero parang a lot of people think na parang ngayon lang yung burnout na yan. Or baka may mga nagsasabi pa nga na...
Kailangan ko muna mag-gap year. Kasi na-word ako feeling ko nga, parang pwede ba ako magpahinga muna dito?
And like talking about dismissive, some people are thinking, ay, yung burnout na yan, wala naman yan nung henerasyon namin, di ba? Parang ngayon na lang uso yung burnout na yan. Parang, is there truth to that na ngayon lang yung burnout? And is burnout normal? Like, when do we know when it's just stress, which is part of everyday life? And, when is it burnout? And why are more and more people burning out now more than ever? Doc Dins.
Yeah. Yung burnout kasi na konsepto, una, no, it's actually a workplace phenomenon. Technically, it's a workplace phenomenon. Na meron kang chronic stress, meron kang constant stress na hindi tumitigil. Okay? So, nababurnout ka. So, you start to distantiate yourself from the work. You start to, think about it negatively. So, yan yung konsepto na yan.
Hindi ba yung coping mechanism, Doc Lins?
Hindi na rin kasi siya healthy eh. Kasi kung workplace phenomenon ito, wala kang productivity. So, kaya yun ang unang napapansin eh, kapag nababurnout ang isang tao, hindi na siya productive at parang negative na siya towards the work, which used
Hindi
to
na
make
siya happy
this person
sa
happy.
ginagawa niya.
Yes, at minsan napagkakamalan yung burnout na depression kasi nga ang daming overlaps ng sintomas ng depression doon sa burnout. But lahat naman tayo nagkaka-experience ng chronic stress. Ang problema, kapag walang break, kapag
Correct.
walang reboot, doon, hindi ka na makaka-recover, tuloy-tuloy na siya.
Yung concept natin of toxic stress, di ba? Like, sometimes pwedeng tuloy-tuloy yung stress, pero important din kasi yung support system. Di ba? Na meron kang reliant person that you can run to or who supports you. I think yun yung minsan the big difference then in this kind of scenario, di ba?
Yeah. Sa mga estudyante, lalo na sa mga medical students.
Nako po.
Oo.
Lalo na kung double degree
Even
pa sila.
college
no?
students. And ako, I was talking to some parents at Ateneo grade school because my son is in Ateneo grade school and they were also talking about their kids having burnout. And I never imagined na, akala ko ang burnout only for like older adults. But now kids, adolescents are having burnt out. And the image that comes to mind is, we need to burn naman, di ba? There's a nice quote na, we need to burn to give light. Pero pag nagba-barbecue ka, dapat i-replenish mo rin yung uling. Kasi kapag hindi mo if you don't replenish yung charcoal, magiging abo na lang lahat. At kapag abo na, hindi na yan mag-iinit. It won't give light or heat anymore. So resources, support. Kasi gutom na ako, Doc TP, di ba? Tsaka malapit tayo ngayon sa di ba dati may nagba-barbecue dyan sa may coffee courts nung nasa Ateneo ako. So na-miss ko yung barbecue na yun.
Malapit tayo sa Igis Talipapa.
Ayan.
Sarado na ngayong gabi.
Pero di ba, it's okay to burn so that we can give light.
Yeah.
But don't burn out. Di ba? Otherwise, you'll just become ashes.
Okay. Maganda na na-realize mo rin yun. Di ba? So, self-awareness din, I guess, no? Pero ito yung tanong ko. What are simple things that give you joy? Di ba minsan yun yung kailangan nating hanapin na, okay, it's a really hard day, it's a long, hard day. Meron ka bang, like ikaw, Agham, what is one thing that you like to do to bring you back, okay, this spark na hinahanap natin?
Para hindi ka ma-burn out, para hindi ka maging abo. Kailangan ng spark eh. Ano yung uling mo, Agham?
So for me, I'm a very spontaneous person. So whether it's just about having a matcha craving, I'd get it, I'd order it. And then if I just want to reconnect with an old friend, I would also try to do it so that it would give me that spark. Again, life is worth living pala. It's all about really the small things that give you joy. And again, siguro, it's about taking one step at a time. So, siguro kasama yun doon, yung about the little things that really make you happy.
Ganda. Ikaw, Doc Jello, meron ka bang one thing na, ito nagpapaligay sa'yo pag nakikita mo?
Interesting, good question, Dr. Pino. When I feel like I'm burning out, I try to burn my calories. So I usually put on my jogging gear kasi taga Commonwealth lang ako. So malapit ang UP, malapit ang Ateneo. Nagjo-jogging ako. And like jogging gives me that, like endorphin boost. It also like takes me out a bit from the work or from the scene of the crime. 'Di ba? Tapos yung nature pa, 'di ba? Especially tapos ang playlist ko pa habang tumatakbo ako ay Carrera by Beanie, 'di ba? Sabi dun sa kanta, buhay ay hindi karera, 'di ba? So wag kang ma-burn out, 'di ba? You're not trying to outrace anyone but yourself. No?
Correct,
So
correct.
that is my burnout remedy.
Ganda yan.
Tapos minsan ice cream. Pero mas maganda ata yung
Kasi
exercising.
ate ko, going outdoors din sa nature, di ba?
How about you, Doc Tipi, Doc Dins? What is
Si
your
Doc Dina muna. Gusto ko yung sharing ni Doc Dina. Go.
Well, ako kasi kapag kailangan ko mag-reboot, naglilinis ako ng isang corner.
Doc Dina,
parang
imbitahin
ang
kita
layo
sa
nga,
bahay ko, ah.
Parang grabe
Para
yung
maglinis.
generation gap. From matcha to exercise to maglinis.
Nagtitiklop, naglilinis.
Maganda. Basta may isang corner lang. Maybe it's my work table. Maybe it's the kitchen counter. Kasi parang feeling ko, pagka chaotic yung utak ko, parang meron akong naayos. Yun yung effect sa akin.
Natatanggal yung
Oo,
clutter.
hindi naman yung buong bahay eh. Just a little corner.
Sa
O,
magulong
basta-
mundo, di ba? Parang may kaayusan,
May kaayusan.
even if it's just a small space. And you know what? That's actually a very important mental health tip as well, no? For you to have a safe space, an actual physical safe space, even in your own homes. In my place, it's my garden. So I have all of the plants, and when I feel overwhelmed, I have an aquarium pa, di ba? So it's my safe space, di ba? So
Ganda. And you
ganda.
create that space, di ba? Kasi yung iba sa atin, hindi naman ganun kalaki yung bahay. But what is this corner that you can call your own?
Sometimes it's just a plant, Doc DP. Di ba? Like, you put a plant in your table, di ba?
Yeah.
With pictures. So, we've talked
Yes.
about parents and their children. We talk about burnout among students and young professionals. Lifespan tayo, Doc DP. Let's talk about mental health challenges in the elderly.
Sa mga seniors naman natin.
Our loved ones in their golden age.
Yes.
Nakita ko si Doc Dina, parang hinawakan niya yung puso niya, di ba? Oo.
Senior feel.
So, Doc Dins, I think we've heard or we've seen news reports and even studies showing that depression, anxiety among the elderly is now becoming more and more common, but not a lot of people are talking about it. Do you think it's really a problem here in the Philippines? Mental health issues among our elderly population.
Right.
Yes, oo. Yes, oo. Kasi yung mental health kasi wala naman siyang pinipiling edad, Life across your life course, you have developmental milestones na dapat mong attain at meron ka ding mga challenges na face. So sa elderly naman, well, we know about the empty nest syndrome. Pero ang gusto kong i-highlight ngayon, meron kasi tayong problema sa intergenerational connectedness.
Ano to, Doc Dina?
Iba kasi yung nakasanayan. For example, si Agham, matcha. Di ba? Ako, tiklop. Parang alam mo yon yung magkaiba at walang connection at hindi nag-uusap yung generation ngayon at saka yung generation noon. Wala na yung sense of yung connection nila. Wala silang nothing much in common. Iba na yung mundo ngayon. So, merong feeling of isolation ang older population dahil doon. And that actually makes them sad also. They no longer find meaning in their lives. Diba?
Right.
So
Kasi
it's
parang hindi sila
isolation.
relevant,
Oo,
diba?
Yeah.
So, we have to fix that.
Finding meaning pa din is important. Actually, across the lifespan, I think important yung ganung kind of conversation din, di ba? Pero, like, I think it's also important na ma-differentiate din na this is part of healthy aging. Diba? You have to differentiate that from, ito pala, meron na akong mga ibang nararamdaman and to be able to recognize that din, diba?
And I have a question about that, Dr. P. Di ba? Parang, okay, so we have an elderly family member, our parents, our lolo and lola. We see that they have a change in appetite. Di na sila masyadong kumakain. Or yung tulog nila hindi na as dire-diretso. Or minsan sinasabi nila, parang ang babaw na lang ng tulog ko. Is that healthy aging? Is that normal? Or should that send us, some warning signals about a mental health challenge? Or sometimes they worry about, ako ito, hello po sa aking nanay at tatay, pero, sometimes we have parents who start worrying more once they, go beyond 60, di ba? So, is that healthy aging, or should that send us some like warning signals? Or, may isa akong batchmate na nagkwento, sabi niya parang, itong nanay ko, lagi niyang kinukwento, pabigat na lang ako. Yun yung laging drama ng nanay or tatay ko, pabigat na lang ako. And may batchmate din ako nagsabi, alam mo, yan din yung laging sinasabi ng nanay ko, parang pabigat din ako. Is that normal, or is that a symptom of something of an underlying problem or mental health challenge? Doc Dins.
Ako muna siguro. Kasi as a
Dr. P.
clinician, di ba, parang you want to rule out muna yung mga medical conditions.
Yeah.
Kasi minsan, ang presentation in seniors can be different. So, hindi sila nilalagnat, pero pulmonya na pala. Yung ubo nila, akala natin simpleng ubo. So, rule out muna natin yon as a clinician wearing that hat. Yun muna. Pero kung halimbawa, wala pala silang sakit. Like, paano na to, Doc Deeds? Papasok ko naman sa'yo ngayon.
May mga nabanggit si Doc Jello, no, na maaaring sintomas nga ito ng mental health problems. Pero mahirap din kasi na i-pathologize mo lahat. Pag nasad ba, depressed na. Diba, pag hindi ba makatulog, or pag nagsasabi ba siya na burden siya, mental health problem na siya. Kasi yung pag sinasabi mong hindi burden na ako, ang message naman nun is, gusto kong maging relevant pero hindi na ako relevant. Kaya yun yung pakiramdam niya. Pero ang sinasabi niya actually is, hindi na ako relevant. Diba? So, naghahanap siya ng meaning. Meron pa rin siyang ginagawa para doon. So, hindi naman natin pwedeng sabihin na pathologic kaagad yung emotion na gano'n sa isang elderly. Although, depende siguro, situational, no?
Yeah.
This could be, but this could also be parang sa child development. Meron din naman development, meron din naman changes talaga ang physiology ng elderly.
Right.
Let's talk about meaning, Doc Dins, no? Parang for many of our elderly now, no, they come from a generation where most of their life's meaning is defined by their work. But, they are at the time when they are retired from work. So you're sort of taking away that thing that used to give their life meaning. Let's talk about hope. Like, how do we give our retirees, our loved ones in their golden years, a sense of meaning and hope, even when, they've retired from work?
Siguro hindi naman mawawala ang hope, di ba? Para mag-change lang yung life stage nila. Pero Doc Deans, what do you think?
Naalala ko tuloy nung magsi-60 ako.
Magdu-dual citizen ka na noon.
Oo. Pero may program kasi yung Ateneo na kapag ka magre-retire ka na, they give you a lot of they send emails regarding different activities, even to prepare you for the event na mawawalan ka na ng sweldo. So, maraming gano'n. So, yun, nakakatulong yun, actually. At saka, yung pag-prepare mo sa retirement, at saka yung paghahanap ng isang hobby, pagkakaroon ng isang social, yung circle, yung national, yung commission ngayon ng senior citizens, meron sila mga programs na meron mga centers, no, for the elderly where they can have activities. So mahalaga yon, yung social support pa rin para hindi sila feeling isolated.
And maraming pwedeng gawin, no? Parang pwedeng, like, they can get into apps or learn new technology, di ba? Marami tayong nakikita ngayon, mga magulang, nagko-content creator na. Di ba? So, and like, sometimes that gives them...
Marami na silang followers.
Maraming followers that also gives them
Diba
a
yun ang
chance to
motivation
connect.
nila?
Yes.
Yeah.
So.
Sige. I think, Agha, may question ka ba for Doc Dina?
Wala naman po, pero gusto ko lang, kasi parang common phenomenon din yan sa mga tita ko, na parang, parang depressed na ba sila? Those were my questions before. Pero as I studied po, parang may mga theories din ako nalaman na, ganito po pala yung kanilang nararamdaman. Mas na-explain po sa akin. Siguro, ano pong mga advice ang mabibigay niyo po sa kanila na parang nahihirapan po siguro mag-cope with this period of their life?
Well, hindi lang sa kanila yung advice, it's for the entire family. Okay? Kasi, may mga common kasi na parang yung mental health promotion na sinasabi, no? Yung how do we prevent, kasi from a public health perspective, how do you prevent from getting into that situation na you become a sad elderly, no? Actually, yung lifelong learning is one, actually, no? You learn something new every day, katulad
Habang
na
may
sinabi ni
buhay,
Doc Chelo.
diba?
Oo, parang meron kang bago. At saka yung nabanggit mo rin na, you approach things with curiosity. That one is actually very healthy for the mind, no? So yun, try something new. Yun yung...
Everyday, merong
everyday may bago kang
Yeah.
lesson.
Lifelong learner nga
Lifelong,
dapat,
yes,
diba,
oo.
Doc?
Yun yung isa sa mga constant na binabanggit ko kapag a person my age approaches me to ask for tips. And then embracing nature is also good. No? Kasi kailangan na natin ng mas maraming sunlight, mas maraming physical activity, para hindi naman tayo masyadong...
Gumagalaw-galaw.
Oo.
And actually, later, Doc Dina, we'll explore more that linkage, no, between the environment and our mental health. And a lot of our listeners might be surprised that there's actually a very strong connection. So now naman po, no, thank you very much again, Doc Dins and Agham, for your storytelling. Napakahalaga talaga, Doc, tips ng mga ganitong kwento na nanggagaling hindi lamang sa mga health professionals, but also sa mga advocates who are working as close to people as possible, and from people themselves, everyday people with real struggles, with real stories.
Right.
Now naman po, we
Punta
go to
tayo.
our segment, no? Isa sa mga pinaka-exciting segment natin, our tips, our health tips segment.
So, in this case, mental health tips
Yes.
naman, di ba? So, tatanungin natin si Doc Dina. So, Doc Dina, let's get practical. So, we want to share one mental health tip. Like, ano yung madaling gawin, like low-lying fruit na pwedeng gawin that you can personally recommend for our viewers tonight. So, siguro mag-share tayo. Isa-isang mental health tip natin. Doc Dins, ikaw muna.
Kaming mag-asawa, meron kaming binuo na mga haligi, no, ng lusog-isip. Anim yan. Pero yung paborito ko, yung magpakabuti at magpakabait.
Magpakabuti, magpakabait.
It's about gratitude. It's about doing something good, being more kind. Actually, it helps you with your mental health. That's why, going to charity actually uplifts your spirit. I mean, doing something charitable uplifts your spirit. So for me, maganda siya na i-explore natin.
Right.
Magpakabuti at magpakabait.
Parang going beyond yourself.
Yes,
din, di ba?
may kasama siyang gratitude. It also has something to do with spirituality. Kasi ang mental health naman, hindi lang biopsychosocial, may kasamang spirituality.
Idadagdag ko rin lang, Doc Dins, no? Magpakabuti, magpakabait sa iba, pero most importantly, magpakabait sa sarili. One of the things, like when I'm facing something difficult in life, I have this mantra, Dr. P. I say to myself, this is a moment of suffering. Suffering is a part of life. May I be kind to myself.
May mantra ka nga.
So I repeat it.
Ilang beses mo yun sinasabi?
Lately, Dr. P, medyo madalas-dalas, di ba? Especially with like the many things that I need to do. But yeah, first I acknowledge this is a moment of suffering. We label it. Number 2, suffering is a part of life. We try to normalize it. And then number 3 is, may I be kind to myself. Di ba? So, being kind.
So, giving permission to yourself.
Yes.
For this moment, no?
So, magpakabuti, magpakabait. Naalala ko tuloy, si John Lloyd ba yun? Di ba? Parang,
Mahilig talaga sa...
parang may di ba? Parang may
Oh, sige,
movie na
sige,
parang,
ayan.
minsan iniisip ng mga tao na ang mahalaga maging magaling. Di ba? Pero minsan mas mahalagang maging mabuti. Mas mahalagang maging mabuti. Di ba? O pwede naman pareho, di ba? Magaling at mabuti. So,
Tanungin natin si Agham. Ikaw, Agham, meron ka bang tips para sa ating mga tagapakinig?
So mine might sound basic, but I've learned the power of naming emotions. So instead of saying I'm feeling sad, I would say I'm feeling overwhelmed or I feel a bit burned out. Yung basically just being more aware of what you feel, that already makes a big difference because you're putting a label to your struggle, and it helps somehow legitimize your experience, and basically it's easier to manage now once you name that emotion.
You name it, you claim it, no? Parang ganun, no?
how about you, Dr. P?
Ako, sige. Yung sa akin naman, yung paghinto. Paghinto, yung pause, I think, it calms me down. Pero, meron nga akong gustong i-share. Kasi, di ba, parang biomedical din. Minsan, pag meron tayong mga issues or concerns with our mental health, ibig sabihin yung sympathetic natin, yung sympathetic system natin, overdrive yan. Kaya ang bilis ng tibok ng puso mo, kinakabahan ka, pinapawisan ka, ganyan. So, paano natin ibababa yung sympathetic drive na yan? 'Di ba? So, gusto natin yung parasympathetic naman yung magte-take over. So, ako, sa hininga. So, important yung breath natin. So, ito yung tips ko. Pwede niyo pong practicein. Pwede natin practicein ngayong gabi. Magba-box breathing lang po tayo. So, ang box breathing, simpleng-simple. So, inhale 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 4 counts. Parang box. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold ulit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tapos siguro ulitin nyo lang yun. Mga 5 times, ganyan. Tapos, minsan talagang ako nafe-feel ko talaga, kalmado talaga after. Kasi ano din yan di ba, puso mo hindi mo naman makokontrol. Yung takbo ng isip mo parang lumilipad-lipad yan. Pero yung breathing mo, kahit paano, meron tayong to a certain degree kaya nating i-control yan.
And alam mo, Dr. P, I also use that strategy to get myself to sleep. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes simple, slow breathing can help you get to sleep. Hindi mo kailangan magbilang ng tupa. Ng sheep, di ba?
Na tumatalon sa fence.
So, sometimes simple breathing is enough to allow your parasympathetic nervous system to kick in and, get you to sleep. Dr. P, before I go to my tip, I have a functional medicine question. A lot of people also don't know that there's a link between nutrition and mental health. One of the things that I learned in medical school is that...
More nalalaman na nila yan.
Yung gut microbiome natin, di ba? And naalala ko sa medical school, most of the serotonin, yung happy hormone natin, is actually produced in the gut. I think 90-95%. So, are there any particular kind of foods na
kailangan mong kainin?
That would actually help. And siguro si Doc Dins na rin, no? Parang, kasi ang dami, parang fermented food daw, or cheese, or wine, or chocolate. Ano yung mga food or some nutrients even or some supplements, I guess, that from a functional medicine perspective and also from a psychiatric perspective are help in boosting yung ating lusog isip?
Ako muna. So sinasabi nila, our gut is our second brain. 'Di ba? So importante talaga yung place ng ating gut, yung gastrointestinal tract natin. At saka yung mga microbiome is the good or bad bacteria na nakatira sa tiyan natin, di ba? So, ang tip dyan, start with whole food. Sorry, babawasan natin ng matcha. Kasi di ba minsan tayo parang sinasabi natin, nakasanayan natin, kailangan pag medyo malungkot ako, tsaka tayo nagsisweets, at tsaka tayo So, minsan craving natin yun. I guess, programming din kasi yun nung bata tayo. Pero ang importante for our brain health is we eat whole food. So, tanggal po lahat ng processed food na may food coloring, mga hotdog, tocino,
mga inflammatory foods.
Mga inflammatory food, tatanggalin natin. Tapos, babalik natin yung good food. So, parang plus-minus lang yan, di ba? Plus natin yung mga good food, vegetables na iba-ibang kulay. Ima-minus natin yung mga processed food na maraming asukal.
Mga leafy greens, mga berries, rich in antioxidants.
Yes.
Well, yung sugar din, no? Although guilty naman ako, hindi ko naman itinatanggi. Pero yung sugar talaga, ang madalas namin ina-advise, especially for persons who are taking medications. Kasi the medications also have effect on the weight And kapag ka nagkakaroon ng weight gain yung isang person taking medications at nakaka-apekto yun sa self-esteem niya, very important, no? Yung ating tips, no, on having a healthy diet, yung good nutrition talaga. So yes, yung mga inflammatory na mga pagkain, especially yung sugar nga, kasi yun yung parang nakaka-boost ng sudden surge, no, yung mood mo, pero sudden, sudden din yung bagsak. Yun ang gusto nating i-avoid.
Yes, ikaw naman, di ka pa nag-share.
Ako, from an environmental health perspective, siguro, ito, very strong yung linkage between the health of our environment and even our mental health, no? Number one is sunlight exposure. Diba? Sunlight exposure, may mga studies na nakita nila na parang mas common yung depression during winter. That's because of sunlight, diba? So, let's make sure we get our daily dose of sunlight, no? Not just for your mental health, but also for your vitamin D, for your bone health, diba? For your, to improve your metabolism. And ito, nakita ko rin, green space exposure.
Yeah.
Maraming research, no?
Paano kung nakatira ka sa mga condos? Na parang
Halaman, di ba? Pwede naman mga house plants, di ba? That also improve air quality in your home. Tapos gusto ko lang i-shout out, no, one of our graduates, si Dr. TJ Malvar, who also founded Forest Bathing Manila. So meron siyang concept ng forest bathing, which I think is also linked to what the Japanese call Shinrin-yoku. No? You allow yourself to bathe and be present with nature. Really helps with mental health. Gusto ko rin i-shout out si Miss Billy Dumaliang from Masungi Geo Reserve. Doc Tipi, I was just in Masungi, I think like 2 weeks ago. Iba talaga, di ba? From the traffic in Cainta or East Manila, tapos nung pumasok na kami sa Masungi, naramdaman ko talaga eh.
transformation ba?
Iba, parang mas naging kumalma ako. Ang sarap ng hangin. I breathe more easily. So, that's proof that really nature exposure contributes to mental
connection
health.
talaga, Doc Jello. No? So, our environment really plays a big role in our inner environment. May connection talaga yan, no? Yep.
Kaya yung climate change, may effect talaga
At
siya
ang
sa
mga
mental
disasters
health.
ngayon, di ba?
Yeah.
So, ang maganda nga di ba? Parang we have all of these resources and these are untapped resources for mental health. Even nature, no?
Yes.
Our environment is a very important resource. So, Dr. P, I think we will be sharing some crucial resources.
Yes, ito po ay important kasi hindi rin natin alam, 'di ba, kung may mga na-trigger tayong mga emotions din, no? But if you or someone you know is in crisis or having thoughts of self-harm, please reach out immediately. So,
First, we have the National Center for Mental Health Crisis Hotline. It's available 24/7 at 1553.
that's 1553. Bibigay po namin itong mga resources na to sa ating FB page. So, ang DOH naman or Department of Health also has a mental health hotline at 0917-899-USAP or that's 0917-899-8727. Dr. Dina?
And I think for our younger listeners, no, we also have Hopeline PH. It's at 0917-558-4673. Other numbers are 0918-873-4673. And we also have landline at 8804-4673.
Si Agham din, merong
And siguro for
i-share.
our student listeners, you have your guidance counselors, campus ministers, psychologists. So for Loyola schools, we have the Office of Guidance and Counseling. We also have the Ateneo Bulato Center. And for ASMPH, we have Mind You. So there are different resources naman that they could tap in case that they have mental health concerns.
And of course, if you have a trusted friend, a colleague, no, and yung first responder, don't ever doubt, no, yung capacity nila to help you. And of course, ikaw din, no, never doubt your capacity to help another person who is in need of who is in a mental health crisis.
Ang ganda na, be kind to others, be kind to yourself. Yun ang
Right.
sagot sa hope, di ba, sa
Right.
mental health. Dr. P,
So, kailangan matandaan po natin, no? So we all have to remember that reaching out for help is a sign of strength. It's actually not a weakness na minsan yun yung iniisip natin, no, na parang, okay, I feel so weak and I really need help, no? So it's actually taking care of yourself and at the same time, the same way you treat any physical injury. So kailangan may respeto rin tayo sa ating mental health, no? Yan.
ang ganda na, Dr. P. And just like that, no, parang that's been an hour of, fruitful, heartfelt, no, real, and hopeful conversations on mental health. Dr. Dins Ladera, Agham, thank you very much to both of you for this beautiful and honest conversation. Siguro, just like, I think we still have like a minute. Any final thoughts po, Doc Dins and Agham?
Doc Dina muna.
Siguro yung yung ating pagpapahalaga, no, sa ating lusog-isip. So, kailangan nating pahalagahan yung lusog-isip natin. And we have to remember that investing in our mental health is investing in mental capital, it is investing in national development. Ganun siya kahalaga.
Thank you, Doc Dina. Tatandaan natin yan. Agham, ikaw.
I agree po, no? Pero for me, siguro, they might already heard this in Netflix, pero it's really okay to not be okay sometimes. And that just don't be alone. Always find a friend or someone you could lean on to help you with your journey.
Ganda. So, those are actually perfect reminders for all of us, no? And to all our listeners, your mental health matters. So, your feelings are valid and there is always hope. So, sana tandaan po natin yan.
And one of the things that give me hope, Doc Tippy, is that next Monday, no, our next episode, we're shifting gears to talk about growing strong, child development, and early signs to watch out for. So we'll have, I think, both the perspectives of child health professionals and maybe even parents, no?
Sana maka-invite tayo ng
Opo.
parents. Yan.
So comment lang ho kayo, no? If we have parents who would like to share their story, we're more than happy to invite you here with
Diba? Or
us.
kung may mga tanong sa experts, diba? Let's like invite you. And as always, send us your questions. We will read them, we will answer them, and learn. We will learn together through all of our experiences, our shared journey.
And until next week, take care of your minds, take care of each other, and take care of yourselves. This is your planetary health doctor, Dr. Jello Apostol.
And Dr. Tipi Sumpayco Tanchanco from Cura. Stay well, stay hopeful, everyone, at magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang gabi!